Hey, and welcome to Find Your Fit with Deanna. I am Deanna, certified fitness professional and wellness and life coach. And today I'm sharing with you some information from the most popular blog article that is on my website of the hundreds that are there. It is about how to work out and stay consistent with a really irregular schedule. So, oftentimes in the fitness space, we hear, create your program, or trainers will create a program for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Well, what if you don't have a schedule that looks the same every week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? What if you are a person who, cares for a lot of other folks and you are often responding to different needs of other people? What if you're a person who works shifts and one week you're on days and one week you're on nights and things flip flop, right? Your fitness is as important, and you know what, almost more important, to be honest, if you have that irregular kind of schedule. Now, looking at the first thing to really think about is making sure that you're first prioritizing your sleep in amongst all of that chaos or irregularity in your schedule, because if there's only one thing, yes, I'm a fitness professional, but also a wellness coach. And if there's only one thing that we are able to prioritize at a time, make it your sleep. Because then you have that ripple effect where other things begin to get a little bit easier or more possible when your sleep is a little bit more supported. So that being said, when we are talking about fitness programming for folks who have a really irregular schedule, I'm going to speak to somebody who, let's say, is a shift worker. So your one week looks quite different than the next week. And then depending on how many times, you rotate, is it days, nights, afternoons, is it days, nights, etc. So that's kind of what's in my mind, because for many years I supported, folks that were in nursing, and that really looks different, right? In terms of those types of schedules. So 3 things I want you to think about. First and foremost, I want you to have a checklist of fitness components. And what I mean is, what are the things that you need to work on in a week of your fitness programming? Is that a muscle endurance workout? Is it cardiovascular? Is it flexibility? Or are you a person who splits your strength training? So you have a chest day, you have a back day, you have an upper body day, a lower body, whatever the case is, right? So I want you to think about that. What does that look like for you? And how many workouts do you need? So, don't jump to, if you're sort of just getting started, don't jump to assuming that it has to be 5 or it has to be 7. Like, I work in the field and I don't work out. I move 7 days a week, but I don't work out 7 days a week, right? So I really want you to think about, what does that look like for you? Talking specifically about fitness, okay? Daily movement's a different component. That is something actually for another podcast episode. But what is your fitness component? What do the fitness components need to be for you? So it's goal dependent, right? Overall, general fitness, we need some strength training, we need some cardio, we need some stretching, right? Stretching and mobility. And so how does that play out for you? That's a question for you and your fitness professional. What's the specific goal? What does that need to look like? Okay. Now, once you have, that checklist, if you will. So let's say for many folks, it's, strength training twice a week. It is doing cardio work, say 4 days a week, just to pick some numbers. And then each and every day that you work out is when you would also be doing the stretching or the flexibility component. It makes good sense, right? Whatever you've used in your workout, you want to stretch that at the end of the workout. So if you've got your checklist, 2 strength training workouts a week, 3 to 4 cardiovascular workouts a week. That's step 1, really defining what that has to be. Because if you don't know what you need to plug in, then how on earth could you figure it out, right? So step 1, define well how many and what the workouts need to be each time. And then step 2, I want you to look at, when it's let's say a person who works shifts, so when it's a day shift week, what are the possible times that you can work out? Is that before work? I'm not sure. Do you have, family you have to get ready to take to daycare? Maybe not. But it's to say, what are the possible times? Do you have a time that there is actually a lunch break? Do you have after work time? Do you have evening time? Again, I don't know what that is, but you've got to know where the pockets of time are that are possible. in your night shift, for example, when when you get home from night shift, is that a workout time opportunity for you? Like in theory it is, but do you feel, of course, too exhausted? Do you have kids to get off to school, etc., right? Is that a possible time? Maybe when you have slept and you wake up, is that a possible time before you're going into, when you arrive on site? Do you have a gym at your work that you could work out, right? It's really to look at what are the possibilities. And it's not the full commitment yet, because what I mean is, if you've never sort of tested this out and you're not 100% sure, you can't make a full commitment. And that's a mistake that we make. We say, I'm going to do this thing for this many days a week, etc. If you've never tried it, you don't actually know what that's going to be like. You can't fully commit to that. I want you to approach it with a bit of a test mindset, bit of a scientific approach, meaning for these next 4 weeks, I will try a workout when I get home from night shift or whatever the case is. Okay. So whatever you've decided, you've got to test it out and see, because here's where we go a little bit wrong, is that we say it has to be this way and then it doesn't work, right? For whatever reason, it just doesn't work. And so then we feel like, but I've committed and I have to keep doing this. And then we get really discouraged and we end up falling off track. So that approach to say, for the next month, I'm going to try this format, this time of day, this location, etc., and test what actually works. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay. It has been something that you said, that's not the right formula. I tick that option off my list. I go to the next, don't stop. I go on to the next piece. Okay. So you've got to make sure, again, step one, define how many workouts and what the content of that workout is for a week. What do you need? Second, what are the possible times that will work in with your schedule this week, that week, etc.? So I've spoken about if somebody works like day shift, night shift, for example. What if your schedule is kind of completely random? And I say kind of because I want you to think about, and I say with empathy, if you're in the season of having little ones, it is a hard season. My little ones are now big ones, but that is a really hard season, and your time is often not your own. And if that's what we subscribe to say, I have no time ever, my time is everybody else's, you have given away control. You have fully given away control of life, really, right? So I want you to think about, where are opportunities for me to be active? So one has to be a bit more flexibility, a bit more flexible. I don't mean the fitness component, but I mean sort of flexible and adaptable with your time in that season of life with little ones. But if you look at, and if you aren't yet sure, if you think, I feel like I have no time, I get that. And I want you just to start, maybe your homework for this week is to say, I want to identify pockets of time. So what that means is everybody's starting step is to make sure you know, what are the workouts during your week? What are those workouts? What's the content of the workout? And now, if you already know, to say, hey, when my kids go to bed, that's a time that I'm able to work out, or before my kids get up, right? When I get up a little earlier in the morning, whatever that is, right? Lunch break at work. And so here's the piece. When we're too strict to say, I'm going to work out before my kids get up, what happens when they hear you and then they get up, right? We feel like, okay, derailed, my time's been stolen. I get that, right? Totally valid. But when you are aware of other possibilities, excuse me, okay, so, kiddo got up before, and I maybe, you know what, I would encourage you to try to get a little bit of movement with your kiddo, okay? If that's not possible, what are your other pockets of time? That's where it's really important to say, lunchtime is an option. Around dinner is not. That's like the witching hour. The kiddos are wild, right? And so after bedtime or whatever the case is, okay? So it is really kind of being aware of what you got to do in terms of the workout, but also where are those pockets of times and possibilities. And then what I will say, folks, is point 3, or consideration number 3, is that there is no magic formula. There is raising the sense of urgency to say, when I have a minute, I have to get this done. And so I don't mean that in a blamey kind of way to say, you didn't do. What I mean is, in the reality of the chaos that is life, being a person who works shifts or somebody who cares for others, or your job is super demanding and people are always booking things in your calendar, whatever that is, if your life feels a little bit chaotic, ultimately nobody else is going to say, oh, here's your hour, your half an hour to work out. You've got to make this happen. And so taking back that control to say, no, from 12 to 12:30, you may not book my calendar. I'm putting in a placeholder in my calendar, for example. Or the person that says, gosh, I've decided that I'm going to try for this 4 weeks when I get home from night shift to go on my bike 2 days a week and see how that works. The sense of urgency needs to raise. Like, if not now, when? If not now, when? Nobody is going to show up to help you get, prioritize your fitness. And ultimately, we are left with, our health or our sickness. And so I really want you to think about, those three things, making sure you know what particularly you're going to do on the day of your workout, because that is a real time waster. If you think, I'm just going to do some weights, what does that mean? And then I don't know about you, but if I said do some weights, I'd kind of go in and I'd be like, oh, I have my gym's here. And I'd be like, okay, so what do I want to do today? What did I do yesterday? Right? All that time wasted and opportunity to talk yourself out of it, right? So know exactly what you need to do when you're saying, hey, it's a weight workout day. Great. 20 minutes, go. Second, make sure that you are aware of the possible options, because I know your schedule is irregular. You don't have the Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. or whatever the case is. I want you to say, what are the possibilities during this week, this week, this week? And if you don't know, like if for example, if you do days, nights, etc., you know what those shifts look like and how your weeks swap. If your day is more unpredictable because other people are involved, let's say, have a look at the beginning of the week and say, here are, let's say, for example, you've decided you're going to do 3 workouts that week. I want you to pick 5 days to say, here are 5 opportunities through the week. So you're planning in the day when things go sideways, right? And maybe the kiddo's sick and doesn't go to school or whatever the case is. You're planning for things to be irregular, okay? And then finally, just raising that sense of urgency to say, if not now, when? If I don't do this now, it's not going to happen. And let yourself be flexible and kind to yourself to say, maybe your weight workout is supposed to be 30 minutes. Today, you have 15 minutes. Okay, so do 15 minutes. It's better than doing nothing, okay? Because what it does is get you moving, feels a little bit of success, and it keeps the habit and routine of working out. As always, I hope that's helpful, and if you have questions or topics that you'd like to chat about, please feel free to reach out, Deanna at deannalangfordcoaching.com. And of course, I am always cheering you on to get after your movement. See you soon.